Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out's look at Mid-South Wrestling. On this episode, we will talk about Hacksaw Jim Duggan and the Junkyard Dog against the Midnight Express with Jim Cornette, the Pretty Young Things, Buddy Landale, plus much more on this episode of Mid-South Wrestling, a look back at the television program that was one of the most exciting television programs on TV. Hello again and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. And now, here is your host of the Mid-South Wrestling Discussion, Rodney West.
Hello again, everybody, and we hope everyone's having a great day. We're going to be talking about, once again, Mid-South Wrestling. We're going to be at episodes 256 and 257. They played in the first part of August, but before we do that, let's welcome our panel. First of all, promoter extraordinaire, booker, professional wrestling, and all-around good guy, Mr. Jack Lord has joined us. And he is a provocateur, a entrepreneur, and the founder of Pro Wrestling Inside and Out, Mr. Brent West. We welcome you and everybody else to Again, let's talk about it. It's the first part of August 2nd, when it originally aired in 1984. Began the program with a brand new opening that Joel Watts had put together, and he's been doing some great work and was doing some great work. And he put together with I think Earl Link and one of the other producers there at KTBS in Shreveport. Just a fantastic job. And he does fantastic work with all the videos. Just tremendous. I don't know if y'all caught that or not.
Oh, yeah. I can remember that. I liked it. You know what I liked about that? Is every time that little thing would go plop. I mean, they have that little something would happen. It was a tremendous.
Right. The music choreographed with the action, with the drop kicks and the big Robert Gibson with the big knee lift to Bobby Eaton. He did a great job. And later on, Dad makes the opening when he's thrown into the handheld. That's when they got a handheld later on in the year. But anyway, we begin the program with Bill Watts. With Joel and, of course, Jim Ross. And we go to Bill Watts, and he talks about the returning of the Mid-South television medal. And we go through the whole instance that happened the week before. And, of course, they re-show the terrible posting of Terry Taylor by Steve Williams. Couldn't believe they did that. But they re-showed it again. And then they re-showed that again. And then came back. And then Bill Watts gave back Terry Taylor gave for the first time Terry Taylor the Mid-South Television title medal. And so
I have asked this question.
Go ahead.
Why did they show that again? Did they not see that then?
I am kind of wondering, before you answer that, I am kind of wondering if they didn't use the logic of, instead of shoving his head into the pole, he went for one of the turnbuckles itself. I could almost buy that, but as a visual, it still looked bad.
That was pretty bad. Yeah, all right, Rodney. I just had to.
That's what I would have done, is done a censor and put a dot over it where you couldn't tell. That's what I'd have done.
Anyway. That whole last episode should have been done that way sometime.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Hey, the Griffin from Pensacola. He's in the house tonight. We thank you very much, Bubba, for joining us for this one. All right, now of course, Bill Watts again presents the TV medal to Terry Taylor. First time he's had it since he's been champion from the Superdome. First match on the card, have Hercules Hernandez with Jim Cornette against Rocky Smith, who I believe is actually later on Rocky King. Am I right?
That's him.
Cornette.
He was in shape, wasn't he?
He was awesome shape.
He's still in shape.
Wow. Fantastic. Anyway, we begin the program, and Cornette's decided I'm going to do commentary on this one. And, of course, Match continues, and then of course it's the Shinnomaki with Hercules Hernandez. This time around, after the Shinnomaki is applied, we have to wake him up. So this is evolving. Apparently, he's more perfected the maneuver. Did y'all catch that?
Yes, I saw that. Yes.
Yeah, well, he perfects the Shinnomaki to the point now he has to wake the guy up. Then we go back to Jim Ross and to Joel, and they throw to an interview with Bill Watts when he talks to, again, Sonny King, and they recap what has happened to Sonny King with the 2x4, and Watts again explains the new rule change for Mid-South Wrestling, in which there is a $10,000 fines for use of chairs, chains, 2x4s, and tennis rackets. And Watts begins to explain why this, in hindsight, he's really explaining what we've been trying to explain here. You can have matches like lumberjack matches and dog collar matches and coal miner's glove matches when you have rules in effect. Then it's a special thing when you have an all-out type thing that's every match. You really can't say, well, we're going to have a falls count anywhere match when you've already wrestled all over the floor and the referee didn't call the match, didn't call it, have a double count out or anything. So Bill Watts explains that pretty much during this interview. I thought it was spectacular. And then he asked a question of Sonny King about when he thinks he's going to come back. And Sonny tells a story in which his son comes into the hospital room, and I'm assuming this was a different situation. And I think he said his son was 10 years old. And Sonny said that he told his son that he would be back up and he would wrestle again. And I really think that got Bill Watts, or it seemed like it did. It was a really awesome. Sonny King just been brilliant through this whole thing.
Is Sonny King talking about when he got stabbed? Do you think that's what he was talking about in that interview?
I'm assuming that's what it was. I'm assuming that's what it was because, it was really heartfelt, I thought. And like I said, and when he said his son came in there and he said, "Daddy, are you ever going to be able to wrestle again?" And he said, "I will definitely be back in the ring." And then he says, "I will pick the time and the place when I come back."
Sonny King did his best work during this time that he was working for Mid-South Wrestling. I think he did his best interviews, his best wrestling. Everything was done right here during this time. I loved it. Jack, did you think that Sonny King, because you've seen him everywhere else, you've seen him Georgia Championship Wrestling, managing Southeastern, but to me, he was the best here.
Yeah. I thought he was pretty good in Florida, but yeah, he was really the best I ever saw here in this Mid-South period.
He comes over so sincere, nothing contrived. It's like everything I say comes from the heart. There's no acting. There's just him. And I just think he's just real. He's just real. And I think that's what makes it for Sonny King for me on that one. Come up with match number 2. We've got, once again, Big Bad Bob Owens and Tim Horton against the fantastic Bobby Fulton, Tommy Rogers. In the end, it's Tommy Rogers coming off the second rope with a splash, trying to perfect what kind of maneuver they're going to do.
I'm not even going to start this. I seen Jack's face. He's got to talk about something. I can just see.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just searching through that whole match, and I watched it twice to find something good to say about that Horton kid, and I'll leave it at this: he had nice trunks.
Yeah, It was a difficult one, no doubt about that.
Man, that he was not TV ready. He wasn't. I don't know that you'd put him on in a flea market ready. But.
Well, let me tell you, he comes back later on, and I've got a comment to make after he goes against Mike Jackson. So we'll go on.
Well, during this match, Bill, they're talking about the match coming up with Flair and Kerry Von Erich for the world title, which is the main event at the Superdome for that particular match coming up. Match number 3, we got Steve Dr. Death Williams against Rick McCord. And, of course, again, during that match, they're talking about the rematch between Kerry Von Erich and Ric Flair. They're talking about they needed a neutral location, and what better place would be at the Superdome. And they were wishing the biggest luck to Kerry Von Erich during this match. Of course, and then in the end, it's Steve Williams winning with the Stampede.
I have to give – I really enjoyed the match with Steve Williams. I thought it was a bad match.
Rick McCord's good. He's a friend of mine, and I only met him a couple of years ago, but super guy, great attitude. You know, he's one of those guys who tell you, I didn't win a lot of matches, but man, I sure did have a good time while I was in there. He was good. He's a good hand.
Just recently on Pro Wrestling Inside and Out Facebook page, if you've not went to it, please get to Facebook and watch and look at that. But there was a photograph of Rick McCord and Jimmy Valiant, and everybody thought that was Austin Idol. Because the McCord name, he finally came on and said, "No, that's me. I'm Rick McCord." And I put on there, I had to say this. I said, "Yeah, Rick McCord was a nice guy. Austin Idol wasn't that nice."
That's true. Absolutely true. Oh, then we come up with our next match, Mid-South Tag Team Championship, no disqualification. Midnight Express against Jim Duggan and the Junkyard Dog. Cornette comes out, he grabs a microphone, tells Boyd Pierce, "You look like a fireworks a fireworks factory that exploded," and he did.
He wasn't wrong.
I'm telling you. Then we have a situation where Hercules Hernandez and Crusher Khrushchev was in the ring, and they have a little talk before the match with some money, and Cornette hands some money. I'm thinking he's saying, "Hey, while this match is going on, go out and get us some hamburgers and come back." You know what? I'll just tell you the whole thing. I don't care for that. I didn't care for that at all. I absolutely did. It was this. I don't get it. I didn't get it.
This is the question I have to ask. Now, maybe I missed something. Maybe somebody, Jack, one of y'all can tell me. Why did he want to wrestle Junkyard Dog and Hacksaw Jim Duggan? What was the purpose of that? Was the winner going to be getting the Mid-South Tag Team title? Or what? Well, I think the Midnight is the Mid-South Tag Team champion. So why did he want to wrestle them so bad?
No, this is before the match. This is before the match between Junkyard Dog. Midnight has not come out, and neither has the Junkyard Dog.
I understand that, but he was paying them so they could get the tag team match, right? No.
They were doing a deal. Okay, they don't know. They just have a little confab right in front of everybody with the cameras. Cornette has some money. He gives it to Hercules Hernandez. Gives it to Hernandez. Hernandez hands it to Khrushchev, and then both of them leave. And then Cornette goes and does his whole thing and brings in the Midnight Express.
Well, I understand that part. I see that part. But why did he want the Midnight Express to wrestle against Junkyard Dog? And he evidently paid the two guys that were going to wrestle.
No. This was the match already made. The whole point of the money is to buy Khrushchev's coal miner's glove. It comes out later. I thought possibly Cornette was hungry and he did send him out for
now you talk about losing someone. They lost me on that because I'm glad you explained it. Because I had no clue what was going on.
I think there were several different ways.
Now, Jack, did you understand it? Because
I did on the second time I watched the show. The first time it went over my head. I didn't catch that. Oh, and then the second time when I did understand it, I was thinking, man, I could have made you one for half that price.
True. Absolutely true. Well, anyway, so Midnight comes out, Junkyard Dog and Duggan comes out. People were chanting JYD. Junkyard Dog always got a good response, no matter what. Well, anyway, match continues. And it's like Bobby and Dennis are pulling teeth through this whole match. I'm just here to tell you. They're trying their best to get these guys to go, but they finally got all four men ends up in the ring. Junkyard Dog comes up with a big gigantic thump on Dennis Condrey. Cornette comes around, throws powder in the face of the Junkyard Dog, and this was where we must stop again. Did anybody see Cornette throw the powder?
It didn't make its mark. I can tell you that.
I don't think so. In fact, Junkyard Dog had to take and rub his face on the mat so he can get some powder on his face.
Now, let's be honest here. If Jim Cornette was reviewing a modern-day wrestling show, he would be giving them down the road. Here's Jim Cornette. Didn't even make And I don't think he was that far from him. And he
tripped. I mean, he fumbled, and it missed. And then anyway, Junkyard Dog rolls out of the ring. Duggan sees him throwing it, and he goes out after him. Man, he chases around, chasing Cornette around the ring. And you would think it gets better, but it really doesn't. So now it's Bobby. Bobby finally stops Duggan as he's coming back in the ring after Cornette catches him with the knee. And they kind of fumble around there. Finally, it's Duggan catching Bobby with the atomic drop, goes down, goes for the pin. Then Cornette comes as what Jim Ross says, an awkward elbow drop. And it was awkward. Jim Duggan saw that thing coming. In fact, got up before Cornette even got there. You'll know. Woo! Anyway, he misses with a gigantic elbow, and now Duggan gets a hold of Cornette. The place explodes. He has him up, choking him with both hands over his head. Finally falls down on the floor. I'm sure Cornette's wondering where Hercules Hernandez is. It seems like it took him forever to get there. Finally comes in, hits Duggan with the coal miner's glove. Duggan goes down. Bobby Eaton in for the win. 1, 2, 3. Mid-South Tag Team Champion still Midnight Express. Whew.
I liked the match. I liked it. How about you, Jack? I thought it was good.
Yeah, all in all, I thought it was good. It told the story like it needed to.
The people were standing at the end.
Sure.
So I mean, they were standing and they were with it. So I have to give them. What was that? What was Dave Mezzer's? For some reason he had like a star rating. I'll give it 5 stars.
Yeah.
But it was a good match.
All right.
And somebody's come in on this. Make sure.
Hey, Jason Kitchen. Hello from Mississippi. I love Mid-South Wrestling, and I'm glad you have found your channel. Well, thank you very much, Jason. We thank you for coming. And come on back. We're all going to be here every Friday night. We're going to be talking about Mid-South Wrestling. Good times. Good times. Come back with an interview with Cornette and Hercules Hernandez. Cornette was talking about how he bought the coal miner's glove. He did not send Chris or Khrushchev and Hercules Hernandez out for takeout. He did not get a hamburger, no cheeseburgers, and that's the reason he was upset, I think. But anyway, he bought the coal miner's glove. He's talking about, you told us we couldn't bring any chairs or any chains, any 2x4s. We didn't bring any of that. But nobody said anything about the coal miner's club.
Okay, I gotta ask the question.
Go ahead.
So somewhere down the line, Khrushchev used the coal miner's glove there?
Yes, that was way back in March or so. They were using it, and they put Jim Duggan out in a previous earlier in the year. They put it
was Volkov and
they put him out, and he was gone for about a month, and I think that was the time he was down in Florida.
So let me ask you this question: did they during this March and April? Now I'm gonna tell you, people, I probably watched that March and April. I don't remember. Did they have coal miner glove matches during this time?
Absolutely.
So they came right back and just a few months later and had coal miner glove matches again?
Yes.
All right. I just asking the question.
Okay. Well, I mean, the Cornette bought it. You don't expect him not to use it.
That's true. Yeah. I'm just, as Dad uses to say, I'm just asking the question.
Simple question.
Simple question.
Simple out.
Just asking a simple question.
Simple question, yes.
All right. I just needed to ask the question.
In the show, match number 4, in the show with Buddy Landell and Crusher Khrushchev against the PYT. And this time, PYT had new music, kind of confused people when they come out. But still, tremendous response. It was a TV time remaining match. They go off the air, and they say that it was a tremendous match. They go off the air, say that we'll return this match for the next episode.
Let me ask you a question. You think did they really have new music there live, or has that been done for YouTube purposes?
No, I think it was new because the people didn't realize it was them.
So they probably got in trouble for using the
It was still a Michael. It was the Michael Jackson song, still though.
Maybe they just played the wrong one.
No, they play it on the next one too, and maybe the same guy plays it.
I have to admit, folks, I did not listen to the audio part of it. I just watched the matches. I did not watch the audio portion. That we will have to look for Jack and Rodney for those. Maybe that's the reason I didn't understand the buying of the club.
It could have been my explanation, thinking they might have been going out for pizza. I don't know. I
have to give it though. The PYT Landale Crusher Crucial, what part we'd seen, I thought it was great.
It was, and they really should have just picked up the next week from that because it was awesome. It really was. Michael Barr, hello from Southeast Alabama. Thank you.
Hey, Michael.
All right, we begin now. We're going to be doing now this next show, episode 257, originally aired on August the 9th of 1984. Begin the program with Bill Watts and Boyd Pearson. On this week's program, match changed just a little bit. They said they was going to bring back the match with Khrushchev and Landale against the PYT, but Crusher Khrushchev has decided he's going to challenge the Junkyard Dog. So it's going to be Crusher Khrushchev versus the Junkyard Dog, and a tag match, Buddy Landale and Butch Reed against the PYT on today's show. The first part of the show I loved. This was the training exhibition with Magnum TA, showing how he trains and prepares for upcoming matches against Butch Reed, who is going to be his opponent at the Superdome. And so he has Magnum TA, Tommy Rogers, and Terry Taylor in, and they're demonstrating different holds and the way to work them way out, and with Jim Ross. All of a sudden, here comes Butch Reed and Buddy Landale. And Buddy's like, "Hey, Butch, don't you get in there right now. Don't you tire yourself out. Let me go in. I'll take care of this guy." Well, they start. Magnum TA starts in the referee's hold. And Landale's on top. And, of course, TA worked his way out, and he's standing there looking at Landale. Now it's Landale's time to get out of the referee's hold. Landale has a little bit of problem and ends up having to go into the ropes. Finally gets mad. Hiding behind Butch Reed, which I think is hilarious. Hiding behind Butch Reed, and Reed said, "I'm going to get the North American title. I'm challenging for the belt, Magnum TA." And I thought that was brilliant. I loved it. It was just back to the basic wrestling, and I love that. Did y'all check that out?
Yeah, I did. I did watch that. I didn't listen to the audio. I just wanted to make sure.
I just. If there was ever a guy who knew his place in the business when the match started, it was Buddy Landale.
Yeah, man. It was awesome.
He was tremendous. I don't know if there was a better wrestler than Buddy Landale. Everything he did looked good.
Yeah, he's awesome. Dennis Cook listening in from Northern Virginia. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you very much. Michael Barr, Rodney would be a good commentator. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. In fact, for years, that's what I thought I was going to do. And
by the way, I would not be a good commentator. I tried.
No, you were awesome. No, you were too hard on yourself. You were great. You were great. We made fun of you, but that's all right. That's what we do. Kobe Rocky Maru, name of that town.
Oh man, I'm getting embarrassed thinking about it.
Can't be no worse than my first episode on Southeastern Championship Wrestling. I sounded like one of the chipmunks. And that's because I was so nervous. My voice was like 3 octaves too high. Dad did the commentary for that show. It was brilliant. Towns were all up that week too. I just have to tell you. Charlie Platt had laryngitis. You should have seen me up there with me trying to do the rundown of the cards. Me and him had to go over them. It was not good. Not good. Okay, then we're back with Boyd Pearson and Bill Watts. I love Boyd Pearson. I just think he's awesome. I really love Boyd Pearson. We recap the match with the Midnight Express against Junkyard Dog and with Jim Duggan with the Coal Miners Club. And Cornette comes out there, and this time is a totally different take on why he has the Coal Miners Club. This time, he says, "I bought the Coal Miners Club for $10,000." So that's a lot of. Jack, have you had $10,000 in your hand before?
A time or two. I did not spend it on gloves.
Well, let me ask you a question. Was that wad that Cornette had big enough for $10,000?
Yeah.
Maybe. So
maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah, maybe all hundreds. Yeah.
But anyways, Cornette said he bought the Coal Miners Club because he was all for the new rules about the enforcing of the new rules and all of these foreign objects and tennis rackets and all this other stuff. And so he was going to buy the Coal Miners Glove so that he could get rid of it. Not to use it, but to get rid of it. That was totally different from what he said the week before, but establish the fact he's lying, which is what they were wanting to do. Absolutely perfect. Cornette, always great. Always great in these matches. I mean, in this, I think to me, there is no better. Cornette is at the best he's ever been here. Out of all the other places he's been, this is where he shines the best and the most to me. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but I just think he's awesome here. Just awesome.
Yeah, we'll get into his babyface role when he turns babyface, does commentary. We'll get into that later on down the line. We'll talk about that. Oh, by the way, Cornette, wasn't that great? So
anyway, so now Cornette's talking about Jim Duggan and his 2x4, and he's supposed to have this video of Jim Duggan. And the reason they won't show the video, Mid-South will not show this video now, have tried to hide the video, is because Jim Duggan is using a 2x4 in the video, and he is, by the way, using a 2x4 in the video. So Cornette says, you know what? I have pulled some strings, and we're going to show the video where Jim Duggan is repeatedly using a 2x4, and they show it. And it was a Joel Watch, just one of his most brilliant videos with Jim Duggan. They come back, and Cornette's standing there and says, see what I told you? This is the reason right here they didn't want to show that, because he's using foreign objects that you'll be fined $10,000 for. And that's the reason we had to keep this Coal Miners Glove. he's just great. Then we come up with a match, Crusher Khrushchev against the Junkyard Dog. And this is one of the ones that they really promoted through the show. Bill Watts spends most of his first part of the show, being Brent did not listen to the commentary. I will listen to it for you, of course. I think maybe next time with Bill Watts, maybe I will turn off the commentary. Because in the first part of this match, all he talked about is the Olympics. And I'm thinking, why are you talking about the Olympics? I'm thinking, it's amazing. Absolutely. Okay, so which team came first, Midnight Express or the Rock and Roll Express? The original Midnight Express with Dennis Condrey, Randy Rhoads, and Norvel Austin came first before the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson. Now, the Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express that we're seeing here with Bobby and Dennis, actually the Rock and Roll Express was first. If you're talking about the two different versions, but the original teams, original Midnight Express with Randy Rhoads, Dennis Condrey, and Norvel Austin.
And I do believe at some point Wayne Ferris was part of the Midnight Express.
Did it? Was he really?
I believe he was.
I think that's true.
For just a little smidgen bit of time, I believe Wayne Ferris was part of the Midnight Express. Now, I could be wrong, but I think I've heard that.
Well, as we say, Crusher Khrushchev versus Junkyard Dog, as I said, Watts is talking about the Olympics through most of this. It finally comes to the end of the match, and it's the Junkyard Dog putting the old thump on the Crusher Khrushchev, and I believe Mr. Khrushchev is on his way out. But that's just, I believe I may be right about that.
I liked the match. What about you, Jack? I thought it was a pretty decent match.
I thought it was a good match. Now, Darso was always a good worker.
Now, Rodney, you said you didn't like the match very well, but I thought it was all right.
I thought if this was actually his last match, I thought that neither one really sold that much. As far as I was concerned, I thought it was
did they
kind of slow.
Did he know that was his last match?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I thought that they should at least have gotten more heat, because I thought the end of the match ended flat. I thought
now, Crusher Khrushchev would leave to go to Florida, right? Dutch Mantel was booking Florida. Is that where he ended up going?
I'm not sure. It's very shortly that he joins Nikita and Ivan Koloff.
May have been. He may have went directly there.
I'm thinking he went on to Crockett.
But he may have made a stop in Florida. Yeah, but I thought it kind of ended flat, which with two big guys and big match. I thought should have been bigger, but that's just my opinion. Could have been listen. If I would have turned the commentary off, I might have liked it better. No, Bill Watts distracted with all of his Olympic talk.
Well, no, I could have done the commentary for the match.
I love Bill Watts. By the way, I have nothing but respect. I just give him a hard time, like we do everybody. That's the way we like to do. Okay, so anyway, so we come up with the next match, and this is another one that's very difficult for me. It is Buddy Landell and the Hacksaw Butch Reed against the PYT. And I just want to make a point right here. Norvel Austin is actually the original Junkyard Dog. I'm not sure if anybody knows that or not, but he is actually the original Junkyard Dog. And I think at one time he and the Junkyard Dog of Mid-South fame are actually partners. Am I right, Brent?
Yes, I believe they, for Leroy McGurk, I believe that's who they was working for.
So we have the PYT against Buddy Landell and Butch Reed. During the first part of this match, and as I say, I may need to turn the video. I may have to turn the commentary off. I may, like I watch most wrestling now, the commentary. Most of this match was Bill Watts was talking about how big Butch Reed was and how these big guys and Crusher Khrushchev and Junkyard Dog, they're getting to the bench press to about 400 pounds. And that he thought that maybe they should have a bench press contest during this match. Did Jack? Brent didn't hear it. Did you hear this?
Yeah.
Okay, you heard. I think these kind of comments when you have a big match, and it's just me. I don't own a company. I'm not Bill Watts, but it just seems to me when you have a big important match with main eventers in the ring, you might want to talk about what's going on in the ring. That's just my opinion. That's just what I think about it. But then, like I said, he's talking about everything.
Well, I can tell you this. When I was watching the Olympics, they did not stop when the people were doing their thing and say, well, by the way, down in Mid-South Wrestling, I don't remember that happening.
Really? Yeah, I'm afraid they didn't do that.
No, I don't think I've seen that on that. I don't think NBC did that. So maybe that ain't a bright idea to do. Well, we love you, Bill Watts.
We love Bill Watts. Like I said, we like to give you a hard time. That's what we do. That's what we do. We mean it all in good fun. We have nothing but respect for Bill Watts. Anyway, the match continues. People are behind PYT. They're chanting PYT. I'm sad. It's really sad that they couldn't stay longer because I thought they were doing a great job. I really did. So we end up with a false tag. Ware comes in. Then it's Landell and Reed with the double drop over the top rope with Norvel. Then Buddy Landell comes with spinning elbow. 1, 2, 3. It's Reed and Landell with PYT. And a parting shot from Bill Watts. Bill Watts says the PYT didn't even get out of the gate. And that was his final thoughts on that particular match.
I'm thinking, by his commentary, he didn't like the PYT for some reason.
I have... It goes to show that once again he talked about the big guys, and none of these guys were included except for Reed, and that his hostility towards the smaller wrestlers was intensified.
And so we can talk about that just for a second. Mid-South Wrestling was they had from about January of that year until July of that year, business was pretty good. Business is on its way down from that, mainly because instead of the Rock and Roll at Midnight being on the main event, Jim Duggan's back on the main event. So business is kind of going down. You would think, now this is just me, you went to Jerry Jarrett, you asked him for talent, and then you say, well, you know what? Maybe I don't need to use him. Maybe I'll just go ahead and put Jim Duggan back on the main event. Well, you had Jim Duggan on the main event, and it wasn't drawing. Why did you go back to as Gordon Soley went back to the well too many times? And I don't understand why you went back. I mean, Jack, am I correct about this?
Yeah, that's clearly the way I see it too.
I mean, he's going backwards for some reason, and the pretty young things. Norvel and Koko could have drew a lot of money in Louisiana.
I absolutely agree.
A ton of money. They were good. Koko was when did he start? 1980. Didn't he start with Nick Gulas in 1980, right before he closed
I
down?
believe so. Yeah.
Only been wrestling for about 3 years. It
was awful.
He was awesome at that point.
Yeah, I mean, he clearly wanted the bigger guys, and and I get that. I like to have big guys on what I do too, but you got to diversify. You got to give fans what they want, and if smaller guys are getting that biggest pop, then they need to be at the top of your cards because that's the ones getting the response.
Yeah.
I've said it many times. I don't book for myself. I book for the fans, and I guess Bill liked to book for himself, and man, there's nothing wrong with that if you're making money.
Yeah. And he was making money at the time, but we'll start seeing as we go into all these episodes, these mid-size. There's a time where business goes down, and then in '85 it comes back up a little bit, but then at the latter part of '85 it starts dipping, and it pretty much don't ever come back to what it was did. And while Bill Dundee was allowed to do what he wanted to do. As long as he was allowed to do what he wanted to do, business was good. The moment Bill Watts wanted to take back over, things kind of went back down. All right, Rodney, I'm sorry.
Michael Barr was asking a question between both teams, that both Midnight Express and Rock and Roll Express had some really great matches with each other, and absolutely they did. I mean, you talk about the match. Let's just compare the match between what we just saw or what we just talked about with Tim Duggan and JYD. Compare it to the Rock and Roll Express and Midnight Express. It was really no comparison.
I see what Dennis Cook says. Wayne Ferris was in a stable called the Midnight Express, but not part of a team, so to speak, of that name.
Maybe that's what we're thinking about. Yeah.
And the Bronze Star was also part of the stable. And then Michael has another one. He said that back when Norvel Austin first tag team with his partner Sputnik Monroe. All right. So anyway, now comes our most favorite match of all time. Tim Horton against Mike Jackson. And, Mike Jackson, always a tremendous. What happened, Brent? Did you drop something?
He's getting Kleenex.
Getting all emotional.
He's crying. We hadn't even talked about it yet.
Oh, man.
Very emotional about the match. Tim Horton returns from this stellar performance in the last match. Mike Jackson, although it was a decent, it was all right. I mean, it was a decent match. Finally, here's Mike Jackson with a drop kick to the side of the head and 2 drop kicks. Puts Tim Horton down to the canvas for the 3 count. Mike Jackson is the winner, but his victory is short-lived. Before we talk about that part, let's discuss the match, shall we?
All right, Jack, what was wrong? What was wrong with this guy?
On Mike Jackson's part, nothing was wrong.
No.
Mike did outstanding, as usual. This guy couldn't he just couldn't put nothing together. Every time he hit the ropes, it scared me to death. Even the second time of watching it, I'm still afraid he's going to fall out of the ring.
Yes, it's difficult when the ring beats the wrestler by itself. I mean,
every basic thing you're supposed to do, he didn't do any of that. So
I think this is what happened. I think this is what happened. Mike Jackson was on his way, and he was working out at the gym. He got a telephone call at the gym because we didn't have cell phones, so he had to get the telephone call at the gym. Old Joe Sky called and said, listen, I'm not going to be able to make it today. And old Tim was over there just working out. He was really going. He said, man, that guy looks really good. You know what? I'm gonna just get him some. I'm gonna get him some tights. I'm gonna get him some boots because I gotta have somebody in that spot. And he just took him with him. I don't think he ever trained one day to be a wrestler.
He didn't.
Now,
like it.
For Tim Horton, I will give him his credit. Okay, he improves. I see him the next year. I saw him the next year, and he was fine. No, Michael, we're not talking about Mike Jackson.
No, not Mike Jackson.
Tim Horton.
Yeah,
Tim Horton.
Mike was great.
Yeah, Mike was great. Mike struggled, but like I said, in the end, it was a savate kick, 2 drop kicks, puts him down 1, 2, 3. But like I said, it's short-lived because here comes Butch Reed. And Reed, upset from the victory that Mike Jackson had over him a few weeks ago with the help of Sonny King. And so they have another match. And I'm going to tell you, you want to talk about a great match. I'm talking about Reed and Jackson. I mean, they really had it. And Mike Jackson was fighting him just like you should, with everything you got. I mean, he was desperately trying and fighting and fighting and fighting. Finally, in the end, it's big clothesline from Butch Reed, Gorilla Slam, and of course, Butch Reed wins over Mike Jackson. I just love this part. And this shows what you do. You fight, you fight, you fight. Especially with the bigger
now, when that match is over and the night was over, everybody was in the dressing room. I wonder if Bill Watts came back and said, Mike, I need my money back from old Tim Horton.
Oh, I doubt it. I doubt it. No, I doubt it.
Now, I'd ask him for my money back. Pay me a little extra for that embarrassment that I had to take. Man, I had to cry during all that. It's made my eyes puffy. I'm gonna look bad for tomorrow.
When it's 98 degrees, you're gonna look worse than that. You're standing out there in the heat. Anyway, so we're back at the desk, and we go. Boyd and Bill Watts throw it to a special press conference. It's funny, the press conference really didn't look any different than a regular interview. With Jim Ross and Steve Dr. Death Williams. And in this, Steve Dr. Death Williams announces that since he had the medal taken away from him, and nobody took it away. Mid-South took it away from him. Nobody could take it away from him. Not Khrushchev, not Terry Taylor. Nobody could come. I could put it up on the post. Nobody could take it away from me. So I'm going to come up with my own award for next week. And so now he's going to come in. He's going to introduce it next week on the TV program. So that was the big press conference.
Hey, I also have something that I'm gonna put on right there. And if you can get these, you can cry along with me when you watch that Tim Horton match. I'm sorry, but that was the most ridiculous thing.
It was bad. It was bad.
Oh, Michael, we were not talking about Mike Jackson. We're talking about Tim Horton, not Horner either. Don't call Tim. We're talking bad about Tim Horton. Horton.
You owe it to yourself to go watch that episode just so you can see what bad wrestlers are really about.
Now, you can go watch it on YouTube, but I think that's probably also available on the WWE Network.
I think so. Yeah, this is episode, if you want to look it up, it's 1984, 0809 E257.
Hey, now what year? This was like in July.
It was August the 9th that this originally aired.
And what number was that? What was the episode number?
257.
You know, I've got a card here. This is one of the cards, and we should have showed this one. Can y'all see that?
That's from the. Is that from the Lakefront Arena?
This is from I think it's the UNO Arena. I think they had it at the UNO. Yeah, Lakefront Arena. That's right. UNO Lakefront Arena. This actually has all the some of the actual finishes written down on here.
Okay.
But I didn't know this must have been the year. I didn't know Ted DiBiase. Did he come in?
He comes in and out on occasion. He comes in and out. He'll work in. He comes in in New Orleans, and he also is. And actually, Brad does too. Go into Oklahoma.
Well, I mean, here's the match. The main event is a steel cage match. The Junkyard Dog against Butch Reed. Special challenge match. Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Ted DiBiase. North American title. Magnum TA and the Big Cat Ernie Ladd. Terry Taylor versus Steve Dr. Death Williams TV title bout. The Pretty Young Things against the Midnight Express. Kevin Von Erich against Buddy Landau. Sonny King against Crusher Khrushchev. The Fantastics against Chavo and Hector Guerrero. Ricky Montana against, I don't remember a Ricky Montana even wrestling there, against Hercules Hernandez. And it talks about the Superdome Wrestling Extravaganza on Friday, August 24th. Tickets on sale. Now there will be a 3-row Golden Circle ticket for $50.
Wow.
It will be this will be the greatest dome ever. Nick Goulas must have been promoting this. This will be the
greatest dome I've ever signed this week.
This will be the greatest dome ever, headlined by the rematch for the NWA World Title between Kerry Von Erich and Jim Ross is the one that did these, and I think he spelled Eric wrong. Jim Ross is the one that filled all these out, and don't he spell?
It's ERICH.
I think it's a K, ain't it?
Oh, I don't know. We can't see that. We can't.
Well, I'll have to.
I can tell you this. Look like every card on that match could have easily.
It's ERIK. It's supposed to be RICH, right?
Right. Yeah. So it sounded like to me every match on that card was a minute.
Yeah.
Really. So we would go. Michael Barr was going to ask Terry Taylor. He was called the Red Rooster. That is correct by Bobby the Brain Heenan. Made him the Red Rooster. We'll talk about why he got that weeks ago.
Well, we're coming up on August now. I'm going to share some of this stuff with you when as we're coming, because this is August 31st. So I'll show the card and everything on the next episode. So
Jesse J. Seville said Taylor was the Red Rooster. I remember he with Gino Hernandez as the original dynamic duo. Right, Terry Taylor. And then, of course, Jesse says again, Mid-South Wrestling was a rowdy promotion. Also grew up with world-class wrestling. And right there, side by side, you had world-class with the Freebirds and Von Erichs and Gino with Jimmy Garvin and Chris Adams and Akbar, the whole 9 yards. I mean, they had everybody. And then you had Mid-South going at the same time. It was a tremendous time to be in wrestling on 1984. Just tremendous. Just a tremendous time. But anyway, we're back to we had Steve Williams announcing he's going to have his first role. Of course, Brent has his award that he will be having, the Tim Horton Award, right there. We'll be giving that every week to a very special wrestler, I'm sure. Then we come back.
If I had some toilet paper, we'd do that.
Yeah, we don't need to show toilet paper. Not have a run. People might try to take your house down. Okay, so we come back with Bill Pierce and Bill Watts, and we have the video of the Fantastics, State of Shock with Michael Jackson and Mick Jagger. And then he comes back and talks about the big return match for the NWA World Championship between Kerry Von Erich and Ric Flair next week on the program. First appearance, and I know Watts was so excited about this one. The exotic Adrian Street for the next week. Next show. And of course, they talked about the coal miners glove again and the upcoming match between Reed and Magnum TA. And that will end that particular program at episode 257.
I thought the Fantastics wrestled on one of these. Did we miss them?
The Fantastics did wrestle, but that was on the previous program.
Yep.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I got to say something. Me and Jack was talking about this.
Go ahead.
And Jack, go ahead and talk about what we talked about the Fantastics, because I really believe this was the problem with them.
Just being too fast.
Yeah,
what we're talking about. Yeah. I thought they were great, but boy, I would have liked to have been in the ring with them. And I was in the ring with Tommy Rogers one time, and I just quit getting up and and made him slow down. I understand what they were doing. But yeah, they were way too fast. And they would mess up a lot at that time. Now they just started teaming with each other, so you have to give them, because they certainly get better as time goes by. Because I believe the Fantastics had better matches with the Midnight Express than the Rocky. They had the first Clash of Champions, I believe it was the Fantastics against the Midnight Express. And to this day, I think that's one of the best tag matches I have ever seen in my life. Yeah, I mean, and I understand, Mid-South, they were just getting started. They were trying to impress, they still had a ways to go, but they got there, and they got there strong. Yeah.
I think one of the proudest moments is the contract signing with Bobby and Dennis. And if you all have not seen that,
what day did you say these two episodes aired?
The first one was August. The first one was on August the 2nd of 1984. The next one, August the 9th.
He said, I loved it that you bring up my post.
You're very welcome. We thank you very much for participating in our show. And Michael Barr,
Yeah,
who loves the Kleenex Award, and it might be he might be wanting to keep it.
Now, I'm going to tell you, I'll put this on top of the poll.
Put it on the poll, Brent.
And if Tim Horton can actually walk up that post.
Poor Tim Horton. I hope he's not watching.
You can get this and give it out to all the fans because they all had to be crying at the end of that match. Man, I'm sorry that you did not deserve to be in the wrestling ring. Now, there's people in modern day wrestling that don't deserve it, but he really didn't deserve it. So what day did you say this? Well, I'm sorry, Tim. I'm
August the 2nd, August 9th.
All right. So this is coming up soon. This is August 17th, Houston County. I almost said Houston County Farm Center.
There's the Houston Coliseum. Sam Houston Coliseum. We've got a mystery partner, Terry Taylor and Jim Duggan against Butch Reed, a masked Hercules Hernandez, and Ernie Ladd. How much, Brent, would anybody like to guess who this mystery partner might be?
Sonny King, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, Sonny King. I think
Sonny King, I believe it's Sonny King.
Sonny King was, but we'll talk about the Superdome card. But you wouldn't have to have the whole Superdome card.
You know, I think I probably do. I will look this up because we've got all these things here.
On the internet, what I've tried to find on the full card gives us about 4 matches, and I know there's more than 4 matches for that one. Here we got. Let's see. We've got Michael Barr says he sounds like sounds like a challenge. You're singing like a challenge to me. So he's willing to take Queen Connect.
Is he ready to go up the? The only place we could actually have you go up the deal with. I mean, the only place I know of is Rome, Georgia, on Saturday night. KLT Promotions.
As a matter of
Saturday night.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we have a poll.
There you go. He's got a post. We can put this on the poll.
And we just got a really good compliment from Mr. Jesse. He said, "You guys sound like Mid-South commentators," and we thank you very much for that.
Yeah,
we have, like I said, we have fun with things. We like having a little fun with people. That's okay.
This is getting ready for the. This is because we've just seen the coal miners glove match. So we've got.
And you would have thought they would have finally got a good picture of Hercules Hernandez.
Yeah, you would think it because they all kept on putting them as wrestling too. I've got a bunch of this. We're getting to the point that I have a bunch of this booking sheets.
Full cards inside the programs on that one, on those, or no?
Yes.
Generic. What was that card? Is that the same one you told us about? Oh, North American title match. Magnum T against Hacksaw Butch Reed. Hacksaw Duggan against Hercules Hernandez at the Coal Miners match. Sonny King against Buddy Landell. Steve Dr. Death Williams against Terry Taylor. Midnight Express against the fantastic Jose Lothario against Crusher Khrushchev. So he was not gone yet. But he's on his way out. Art Cruz against Ernie Ladd. Rick McCord against Adrian Street. Brickhouse Brown against Hans Schroeder.
So the next few episodes we'll have visual, as we can't play any of the video.
Can't play on the video.
We'll have visual.
Very stingy. Very stingy. Even though our father's all over that. They're very stingy with the.
Yes.
Michael Barr, thanks for another great program. All 3 of you enjoyed it. Well, thank you.
All right, Jack. What was your closing comments about these 2 episodes that we got to see?
Well, I thought they would have been really good, with the exception of Brother Tim there. I believe these were this was the last episode with JYD, wasn't it, before we left?
I think we're getting very close. We were right there at the Superdome when the big match happened. It was originally supposed to be Dusty Rhodes and the Junkyard Dog against the Midnight Express, but the fact of the matter is that as Dusty came down the aisle, Sonny King had a robe on with the hood over the top, covered his face. And as he came down the aisle, he flipped that back, and it was Sonny King people kind of didn't care that it was.
Yeah, they liked it. They liked it.
Like,
We got to. If you never got to experience a Superdome card, that was. It was such a long walk for I think it was actually the heels. I don't understand why they didn't have the baby faces do that. I don't know why they didn't have them drive around, but they have the heels. They get in a cart and drive all the way around that Superdome to come out on that one side. But the Superdome was an incredible place. You could walk that thing, it'd take you over 35 minutes from one to all the way to go to the other side of that building. That was an incredible. We got in trouble too for being on the side that we weren't supposed to. But that's a different story.
Yeah, we were they only used portion of the arena part was like 32,000 seats, because they take part of the at that time they would take part of the stands and they would pull them closer to the ring and kind of make it more like basketball when they have basketball in Superdome.
We've got to do the merchandise plug. If you'd like to get a T-shirt of Pro Wrestling Inside and Out, or get you a T-shirt of Jack the Bomber Lord, go to our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. All the merchandise is right there, and you can pick up and support the channel. A lot of big things coming up in the years to follow. We've got some big plans, and this helps us support the channel. Also, if you have not subscribed and you're watching this right now, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up so we know that you care what we're doing, and also hit that notification bell. It'll let you know when we're going to upload another video on Mid-South Wrestling, or any other video for that matter. We'll have some other things coming up as well. All right, Rodney, anything we need to talk about?
Well, it's coming up. My favorite fantastic appearance with the Midnight Express and the contract signing. That'll be coming up in the next couple of shows. I'm looking forward to that one. And, of course, as always, we thank you for joining us, no matter where you be, and all your comments always welcomed here.
All right. Are we ready to say goodbye?
I think so. For Jack Lord and Brent West, I'm Rodney Bessing. We will see you on the next Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. Good night, everybody.